This podcast is brought to you by Infinite Resources, a local staffing agency connecting diverse job candidates in central Iowa companies.
Hi, I'm Tiffany Menke, President of the Urbandale Chamber of Commerce. The Urbandale Chamber is excited to provide you with this opportunity to get to know a little bit more about the candidates running for Urbandale School Board and the City Council. Thank you so much for taking the time to educate yourself on each of the candidates that are running, and we encourage you to vote on November 7th. Hello, I'm Tiffany Menke, President of the Urbandale Chamber of Commerce, and my guest today is Katherine Howsare. She is the incumbent candidate for Urbandale School Board. So Katherine, thank you so much for taking time to meet with us today. We really appreciate it. It's a great opportunity for the community to get to know a little bit more about you, even though you've been on the school board for quite a while. We're just going to ask you a couple of questions. Again, there might be some folks in the community that don't know who you are, so it just gets them that opportunity. Just a quick reminder, the first question that we ask, you'll have a couple minutes to answer that, and after that, the following questions are about a minute for a response time. So we'll go ahead and get started and just give you this opportunity to tell the community a little bit more about you.
Well, hi. I'm happy to be here. I have been on the board for 2 terms. They're 4-year terms, so that's a total of 8 years. I've been fortunate enough to be an officer 6 of those years. The last 5, I've been the president. My husband and I, when we retired, built a house in West Urbandale, still inside Polk County. And when I retired from the high school as a school librarian, there were some openings on the school board, and so I put my papers in. And that really wasn't even a contest because it was a little different world.
Yeah, things have changed a little bit.
Yes. And so my kids both live here. We're all have been involved in public education. So, and I was a teacher and then a counselor and then ended my career as a librarian.
Perfect. Mm-hmm. Well, that told us a little bit about why you initially kind of got involved. Is there a particular issue that's motivating you to run again for the school board?
Well, most of the people I think probably in Urbandale know that we're very fortunate that over 70% of the population, the voters within the school district, encouraged us and voted for a $60 million bond in 2017. And that has been our driving mission, is to try to complete both of those buildings on the existing sites and try to stay within budgets. And that has been, our mostly singular focus. Of course, along the way, we did have COVID and a number of other issues. Just a few. At this point, I think we want to begin to re-examine how else the district wants to set itself apart, what we need to do going forward. Similar to those of us who participate in city government, we're always examining new opportunities and other things that we can do for our students and our families.
So, you've been involved, obviously, in the school system for a very, very long time. Are there any other experiences or skills that you have that prepares you to serve on the board?
Well, I'm a master gardener, but that's probably irrelevant.
We can talk about that later.
I have been, over the course of time, I've been in 5 or 6 different municipalities, different settings, different school districts. I've got a broad range of experiences over the course of time. I've worked with students from 6th grade through 12th grade. And so I think I have a familiarity with and a longevity with educational movements and how kids can best learn.
Yeah. So today, what do you see as the major issue or issues facing the Urbandale School District, and do you have any specific suggestions for improvement?
Well, we are as most people know, the city actually has 4 or 5 school districts in it. And so it's a blessing and a curse. We have 4.5 square miles. That's really good and sometimes really not so good. So I would go back to our need to re-examine how we're meeting the needs of all of our students. One of the things that I would like us to focus on now is more of a partnership with the chamber and with businesses in the district to really look forward to providing internships and job training for more of our students so that essentially we grow our own labor force with those opportunities. And again, that programming has been kind of precluded by finishing those new elementaries.
Yeah, we're really excited. I know I've been working with
Dr.
Tim
Dacca.
and Dr. Dacca on some projects, so we're really excited about that.
Yeah.
What do you believe is the most significant impediment to student learning today?
Well, we have probably close to around 4,000 students within our district, pre-K-12. I don't think that it's a very complex situation. I mean, every student comes to us from a different environment, different family values. We also have, over 50 languages spoken in that 4.5 square miles. And so I would say that our mission and the complexity that we face in trying to meet the needs of that broad range of students is probably the biggest impediment. It's also, when I watch the seniors march across the stage, it's a wonderful success that we are able to do what we do.
Yeah. We're going to change gears just a little bit. What are your thoughts on the current budget for the school district?
Well, we, as I said, we knew 7 or 8 years ago that we might run into some problems completing that second elementary. And again, we didn't count on supply chain issues and, rising inflation and scarcity and even getting workers during COVID. So those circumstances have challenged us. We are in good shape. One of the candidates has brought up that we missed our mark by millions of dollars on the budget. I can point out that our certified budget is due in April of the year before. And there are a number of variables that can affect that, and they have. The main one that affected this year was that we got some of the billing for some of the subcontractors and the materials in this budget year versus, the fiscal. They came in before June 30th versus after. And so that had been our tentative plan. It isn't that we don't have the money, but we did miss the mark there by quite a bit. We have historically had a pretty conservative approach to budgeting. And without getting too technical, we try really hard to have like a solvency ratio of 10%, which means you've got a cushion that's built into that. Now, we've had some experiences lately where we knew we were going to have to eat into some of that because of the construction. Yeah. But I still believe, going forward, barring some catastrophe at the state level or dramatic budget cuts for every public institution, I think we're in good shape at this point.
Yeah. Well, you've talked a little bit about some of those challenges. So school budgets are difficult to balance. If budget cuts are needed in the future, where would you consider making those budget cuts? And then are there any areas that you absolutely would not consider budget cuts?
Well, I've been through 2 situations where we did have to do budget cuts. And the reality is that one of the main areas where you can do reductions is in that 90% of your budget that is dedicated to personnel. Education is intensely interpersonal. It can't happen if you don't have instructional personnel, all the support services. So anytime that you discuss that, you have to be really cognizant of, every cut that you make or every reduction hurts some population. Yeah. And so, at this point, if we were faced with that, again, based on what I know, we're in good shape. And if we are having to face that, the entire state will have to face it. I couldn't say right now exactly what we'd cut. Normally what happens is you try to go around the edges, buy less paper. But, the physical things that you can cut back on. Maybe not purchase new technology for a year. But the reality is if we have to make deep cuts, it has to come in programming. And I will do everything I can to never have that happen. I've been through it. I don't want to do it again.
Yeah. You've talked a couple times about the state. Mm-hmm. So let's just ask, what changes do you feel should be made on the state and then even the local level regarding public education?
Well, our biggest issue is going to be staffing going forward. We already feel it this year. Any educational institution to talk to in the state, we don't have enough teachers. Yeah. And so any way that the state could encourage by programming, growing our own teachers, assisting people to go into it that might be associates, that might have some desire to do that. I think the growing staffing shortage is going to be with us for probably a decade. There just isn't the supply. Yeah. So I think that is the main thing. I do wish at the state level that we're really confronting important things, versus the books in the library or whatever. I really wish that we could focus on how we can best serve all our kids. And I'm, hopefully maybe we'll be able to come around to that again. Historically, Iowa has been so great to allow local control with their schools in the cities, and I would hope that we could come back to that, to just allow people to do what they do well.
Great. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for your thoughts, and thank you for running. It's not an easy task, and serving on the school board, it's not an easy task. Mm-hmm. We're going to end the questioning by providing you with some time to tell our viewers what differentiates you from the other candidates, and why should the community vote for you?
Mm-hmm. Well, I am older, obviously. I do think that each person who's been on the board over the 8 years that I've been there brings something else to the board, demographically, professionally, and I think that enriches the board. I can say that what I bring, people probably have noticed, I don't have any signs up. I didn't pay for flyers. I am strictly relying on my background and whether people want me to stay there, and I'm fine with that. I don't owe anybody anything, and that has been a conscious choice on my part, that I'm not playing to any particular party or demographic, and I think it is important. It behooves us, both with City Council and with the school board, to take the politics out. I don't think that the current trend has been positive at all for any of our ruling bodies. I think it distracts from our real mission in both areas. And again, what I would bring is I've been through a lot. Many people will remember our masking issue and whether or not we could, be fully in person in school. I also fully believe that our responsibility to our voters and our students and our staff is to take the best information that we have at that point in time and make the best decision we can for the most people that we are working directly for and within the system. In retrospect, could we have made different decisions during COVID? Yes. But, we were all Cloroxing our groceries at the time.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I bring, and I'm prepared to work with whomever's on the board. And I have a familiarity with most of the people inside the system. So that's what I would bring.
Perfect. Catherine, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.